How you guys doing today, guys? Welcome to the video. My name is Jimbo, baby, and I'm about to tell you a story about this car. This is the one car that you really don't see on the channel very much. I mean, you'll see it here and there, you know, just like in the background, but you never see it get driven. It's never in videos, and the reason is, well, it's my daily driver. You know, it's just a car I use to get from point A to point B. I turn it on and it goes. Quickly before I get into the story, the ZFG Co launch party, just want to let you guys know we completely changed locations. We're still doing it on the 20th, but I'm gonna take your guys' suggestion. The #1 complaint I kept getting, and I got DMs about it like crazy. People are telling me, why are you having the launch party on the 20th in Virginia when everyone's gonna be at, you know, OC cruising, Ocean City, you know, cruising? It's like H2O for hot rods, but 10 times bigger in May. It's huge. It's literally H2O for American cars, and it's been going on, if I'm not mistaken, for much longer. And thinking about it from a business perspective, I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, why on God's green earth would I have an event in Virginia when everybody that would maybe go to that event is gonna be in Ocean City? Plus, there's way more potential customers in Ocean City, and a lot of people that I know that are going to OC cruising can get a lot of people to show up to my event. We haven't picked the time yet. We're figuring out the location as we speak. But if you were planning to stay down for the weekend, because a lot of people, what they do is they stay for the weekend of OC cruising. They, like, you know, Friday or Saturday, or it starts on Thursday and it goes all the way to Sunday. So the 18th to the 21st is kind of what people, you know, what they stay there for if they're gonna stay in a hotel at Ocean City. I'm gonna be at OC Cruising from Thursday all the way to Sunday because I was gonna film an after movie. I've never seen an OC Cruising after movie, or maybe I've just never searched the right terms for it, but I wanted to film a movie for it. But we're still having the launch on the 20th, so we're gonna have like a restaurant or a warehouse, a location, something on, like, you know, the coastal highway where everyone cruises up and down during the day. You know, it's weird to see a normal car. That's how many hot rods are there. It's literally weird to see a normal car like this. If you haven't heard about the event, I'm gonna put the Facebook information down below where it gives you all the information. There's gonna be giveaways, there's gonna be merch giveaways, it's gonna be a YouTuber like fan meetup. I'm talking to some other content creators, see if they maybe wanna go. You know, maybe we could have like a big subscriber meetup, you know, at OC Cruising. That would be awesome because a lot of people would be there. Still working it out, still same day, you know, just instead of going to Virginia, you go to Ocean City. That's all, and it's gonna be a lot more fun. ZFG times OC Cruising 2017, let's get it! But anyway, let's talk about why I'm in my Altima. And let's talk about the time I tried to mod it and then I got shut down. But this is my 1994 Nissan Altima. It was handed down to me. It was my dad's. He bought it brand new, 1993. It was brand new for the 1994, you know, model year. And it's like fully loaded. Like the only thing this car didn't have that was an option, I think, was the leather seats. These are just like, you know, like the cloth seats, which are fine. But that was the only thing it didn't have. He bought it right off the showroom floor. It even has, and people don't believe me when I tell them this, it has a working heads-up display. 1994 working heads-up display. It 100% works. The speedometer, it has integrated turn signals, everything works on the damn thing. And I still have my turn signal on. Now I will say the clock right here doesn't really work correctly anymore. It only comes on when it's really hot outside. Some of the lights have faded, you know, where the AC console is. But for a first generation Altima, this thing is pretty clean. It's got now 167,000 miles on the clock. So, you know, it's up there, but I've seen Altimas for sale with 300,000 miles, you know. The motor that's in this thing is actually a KA24DE, which is the same motor that are in 240SXs. So in a really twisted way, this is the sedan version of a 240SX. Obviously, this car is also front-wheel drive, and it doesn't weigh, what does the 240 weigh? Like 2,700 pounds. This thing weighs like 3,800 pounds. It's a boat. It's got that 90s boat suspension. It's good, you know, it works. But my dad bought it new. He daily drove it for years. It was his commuter car. And he eventually gave it to my uncle, who unfortunately passed, you know, a couple years ago. My uncle had run into financial trouble, and, you know, the car that he had, which was like an Oldsmobile, it was like I think it was a G-body actually, it wasn't reliable anymore, and, you know, it was falling apart. So my dad just gave him this car, and he drove it for a while. And the entire time that he had it, keep in mind, he had the car for about 10 years, all right? He only put like 10,000 miles on it. He never drove the car very much. He just used it to putt around where he lived. But, you know, 10,000 miles in 10 years, now that's... But once he had passed, one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to bring down, I cannot tell what people are doing on this road. I wanted to bring this car back down to Maryland. Not only because, one, that way I would have a car to drive when I got my license, which, you know, obviously, you know, it's here now. But there's a lot of sentimental value in this car. You know, like, I mean, if you look up the Kelley Blue Book value of a car with this many miles in this condition, it'll tell you it's worth like 1,500 bucks. You know, this is not, to me, this is priceless. I remember my dad driving me around like to and from McDonald's when I was much younger, sitting in that seat over there, you know, looking up, you know, like at the sky, you know, looking up out of the sky while my dad's pulling out of the McDonald's just because I was too young. I was too small to see out below the window. You know, I remember this car and I have memories with it. And I remember when we would go down to visit my uncle, you know, in Torrington, which was very rare. I remember, you know, like him driving us around in this car. But I got my learner's permit, and on my birthday, my dad and I took a bus up to Torrington, and then we drove this car all the way back home. It was the first time I had really ever, I mean, I'd driven illegally a bunch of times, but I mean, I could actually drive legally now. First time I had ever really driven, I took a 4-hour drive from Connecticut to Maryland. But ever since then, I've been driving this car till the wheels fall off, man. It's been stupid reliable. It's never broken. Anyway, that's a bit of a background on this car. And, you know, I drove this car for a very long time. You know, I never wanted to do anything with it. I wanted to keep it, I purposely actually wanted to keep it bone stock for a long time. You know, because, you know, just in memory of my uncle, because, you know, everything about this car I remember, you know, even from a very young age. You know, I do remember everything in this car from even when I was very, very young. You know, when people talk about driving being therapeutic, you know, driving this car is more therapeutic than driving my Corvette, simply because, you know, of the memories that it brings back. You know, it takes me to a happy place, so to speak. It's very relaxed to drive. It's not loud. It's not in your face. You know, it's just an easy driving car that has a lot of value to it, to me, not to anybody else. But either way, for a long time, I didn't want to do anything to it. But as you know, the more I drove it, you know, the more my, you know, young Fast and the Furious brain started to kick in, and the more I wanted to, you know, do something with the car. You know, whether it was put a new steering wheel on it, or I was trying to find a good sounding exhaust for this car. You guys gotta realize something. Me putting any kind of performance part or spending any money at all on this car is completely worthless. It's not gonna make it faster, and it's not gonna make it any more practical. The only thing I have ever done to this car that actually made it more practical was I put a Pioneer like doubled-in radio in it, and I love it. You know, it was a pain in the ass to install. We put new speakers in the car as well. We didn't change the amplifier. Hell no, that's too much work. No, we just changed the speakers. Bought like $30 ones from Best Buy. We put, you know, 2 new ones here, new ones there, new ones in the back. They both vibrate like hell because they didn't fit the actual size of the, oh geez, what are those things called? The speaker housings. The speakers we bought, even though they said they fit, they did not fit my speaker housing. So I spent hours dremeling the speaker housing that's in here. And I don't even know how well it's bolted up anymore. Like, you turn the bass up on this sucker and they start vibrating. But I wanted to put an exhaust on this car. I found one for a solid $150 on, of course, Fleabay. I also found a performance air filter, you know, like a performance, you know, cold air intake system for a whopping $35. What else did I find? It was I bought an Energy wood grain steering wheel, and that was fine until my mother realized that that doesn't have an airbag, and she flipped out and said that's not going on the car, and there was a debate on that in the house, but you know, as you can see, it's not on the car. All of the parts I bought looked like they could have been in a magazine from like 2001, 2002 on like, you know, Hot Import Nights or Super Street or something, you know, back when, you know, modifying cars like this, that's what people did, you know? So I bought these parts with what little money I had. Granted, none of this, I didn't have any kind of job at the time. You know, I just, you know, whatever money I had laying around, I tried to buy something for my car to make it mine, make it look cool. And let's also add to the fact that there would be no way in hell I'd be able to install these things correctly. Like an exhaust, I'd screw that up somehow. A cold air intake, I'd screw that up somehow. Guaranteed. There would be no way that I would install these things correctly. No jack stands, no tools, no experience, no knowledge, didn't know anybody. Nope, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And my parents also told me, don't buy that shit for the car. We don't want that on the car. And, you know, it's technically my dad's car, even though it was, you know, handed to me. You know, my dad's like, don't buy that for the car. I don't want that on the car. And what do I do anyway? I go and I buy the damn crap anyway. I bought it. It showed up at my house. I talked about installing it, and my dad vetoed everything. Literally everything. Didn't matter what I tried to do. He just said, nope, that's not going on the car. Nope, that's not happening. We're not doing that. Nope. And when those parts had come, I actually found, you know, someone that was going to help me install them, or at least show me what to do. A friend of mine named Patrick, who actually was like the first person to ever really even get me remotely involved in the car world back in like 2015. And I filmed, you know, they're on the channel. There's like 4 videos that were filmed in 2015. And it's just a sea of BRZs and like FRSs. Man, I cannot tell you how embarrassing it was to call up my friend and say, hey, remember how we were going to install that exhaust on my car? Guess what, we can't do that anymore because my dad said I can't. That was so embarrassing. I mean, but it was so embarrassing to say that. And I knew my friend, you know, like he understood, but you know, it's so, but just imagine you're like 17, you got like your first car, you're like ready to do something with it, you buy it, and then your parents veto you. Like it, but looking back on it now, I'm really glad my dad prevented me from doing anything. And this is kind of one of the mothers knows best, but you know, it's more like father knows best here. You know, he didn't want the stuff on the car, and to this day, I'm so glad, you know, I'm so glad we kept this car stock. You know, it honestly, in a way, it's way more authentic. You know, I think now I think about it, the car would look like trash, and I wouldn't feel right about driving it around with like some NRG wheel. That wouldn't, you know, make sense. You know, like a catback exhaust that costs like 150 bucks that's from China. That wouldn't have made sense. This lady just crossed the street as the light turned green. Honey, what are you doing? Putting a cold air intake or a Ram air intake in this thing? Like, give me a break. Like, when this car blows up, like the motor's gone, I'll put a brand new K24DE motor, and I'm not gonna LS swap it. I'm not gonna turn it into some, you know, drag car or race car. Or, you know, they made these cars in Europe. They're actually called the Bluebird, you know, and they had an all-wheel drive version of this car and an SR20 turbo version of this car in all-wheel drive. You know how much fun that would have been? I'm never going to do some crazy swap. When the 4-speed automatic slush box blows up in this car, I will put another 4-speed automatic slush box in this car. When the motor blows up, I'll put a new motor in it. When one of these seats breaks, I'll find another seat for it. I'm not going to make this car like, you know, something out of 2002. I'm going to keep this car the way it is. You know, I still get the question today, you know, why not sell the Altima and have some more money and buy something cooler, you know? Like, something I really want to do, I'd love to do like a daily driver build series. Buy a car, you know, for not too much money and just have it as a practical daily driver, but turn it into a series, you know, do some, you know, cool stuff to it, not to destroy the reliability, not always to make it faster, just to make it a cooler car. I really wanted to get like an El Camino, and especially with starting ZFG, I kind of wanted to get some kind of truck that I could haul a bunch of crap in and not really care about it, so to speak, and just have it as a reliable daily driver car, but also be a project car. Believe me, guys, I will never sell this car. Times get hard, whatever, you know, I'm not going, I would sell, this is gonna sound crazy, I would sell the Corvette before I sell this car. But yeah, guys, this is more than just a car to me. In a way, it's almost like a time machine because, you know, it really does kind of take, no matter when I'm driving it, whether I'm recording a video, whether I'm just going to get McDonald's, whatever it is, when I get in this car, I think back, you know, I think about my uncle, I think about, you know, the good times we had, I think about when I was younger, I think about, you know, my dad, I think about, it's a feel-good car, man. It ain't the cleanest, it ain't the prettiest, I wish I would keep up a little bit more with that, but, you know, this car, it's a lot more than just a mode of transportation. Even though that's what it's used for, it's a lot more. But anyway, guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed the story. Let me know in the comments. Do you guys have anything like that in your life? You know, it doesn't always have to be a car. Is there anything that you have that you hold on to, you cherish, you don't care about the value of it, you don't care what other people say about it, you just have it because you love it. If you've watched this far, make sure to like the video for me. Also subscribe if you haven't already for awesome car and motorcycle content all the time. Make sure you're following my social medias, mainly Instagram. That is the place to be, where you get all the sneak peeks on what's going on, you know, behind the scenes, so to speak, and what's going to be coming up. Make sure you're following @ZFGCo on Instagram. Get ready for the launch, May 20th at OC Cruising. It's going to be a fantastic time. Oh my God, I want to open a window. There we go. There we go. But with that, guys, thank you for watching. All of y'all have a fantastic day.